Hi everybody, you're watching Eyewitness News. I'm Jean Kang here with an exclusive interview with Rockford's filmmaker and creator of the documentary Minding the Gap, which is out on Hulu right now, Bing Liu. How are you, Bing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Let's start off with just tell me a little bit about yourself and the film.
Well, I moved to Rockford when I was 8. I went to school here through high school, and then I went to Rock Valley, and then I left to go to UIC in Chicago and became a literature major. And somewhere along the line, I got a job as a PA, and I just kept working in film for the next 10 years.
Cool. I went to U of I and I studied journalism, so it's like kind of the same route.
Well, yeah, I feel like U of I was like, the flagship, and UIC was like, we were like the brother trying to get.
So Chicago's like the cool city, and U of I is like we're in the middle of the cornfield.
True. Yeah.
So how did you get into filming?
I just got a camera when I was 14 or 15. Originally, it was the film Skating, and then I started making my own films, pretty soon after.
So the documentary is set in Rockford.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how your childhood was like, just growing up in Rockford.
Well, it was. It was just all over the place. I moved all over the place. We started out living over by Auburn High School, and then we moved over sort of near downtown, and then we moved over by Alpine and Broadway eventually. So I experienced a lot of different parts of town. I really got to see a lot of different parts of town through skateboarding. Getting to see all the nooks and crannies, just searching for spots. Made a lot of great friends here, and I always have a place in my heart for Rockford.
Because Rockford is very different from Chicago, because I'm originally from Chicago, so we kind of did a switcheroo. So tell me, what are your opinions and the differences of Rockford versus Chicago?
In many ways, it's, on the surface, it's a little bit similar. They're both sort of built around the same time, a lot of sort of brick, old buildings and architecture. And, obviously Chicago's a bigger place. It has more attention, more funding. I don't know. That's sort of a hard question to answer. Yeah.
Which is your favorite, I guess? Which do you prefer, Rockford or Chicago?
I can't. I fell in love with Chicago,
But
yeah.
Rockford will always have a place in your heart.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what the title "Minding the Gap" means.
It was sort of, purposely vague. The gap sort of symbolizes a lot of things. There's just a lot of gaps in growing up. There's gaps between parents and children. There's gaps between men and women. There's gaps between childhood and adulthood. Yeah.
So give me a quick summary from conception to the finale of your film.
I started making the film when I was in my mid-20s. Thematically, I really wanted to tackle a lot of these things I saw that a lot of my peers were dealing with as they were coming of age. And then it just sort of snowballed, and I just eventually started following these two young men in Rockford, and their lives sort of dictated this incredible story. And then we got into Sundance and have had an incredible ride since then.
So yeah, you were in Sundance, which is incredible. Were you expecting such a success of your film from the beginning?
Not really, but partly I was making this film just, for reasons beyond actually making a film. It was really the story that I think I was born to tell.
Yeah, so what first drew you to telling this story?
Well, there's a lot of there were a lot of things that I feel like my friends were dealing with. I saw a lot of people, dealing with just drug addictions, and people were, a few of my friends had died from suicide, and I feel like I both knew why and I didn't know why, so I wanted to explore that.
So what do you want people to get out of this film? It's obviously a very emotional film. There's a line in the film when one of the characters says this film was kind of like therapy for him. Is that what you want people to feel like when they watch this film?
I think a lot of people can get a lot of different things from it. I don't think you need to go into it looking for therapy, but certainly my inbox has been getting flooded with people sharing how much it's affected them and how therapeutic it has been for them. Look, it really just respects and validates young people's emotions, which we don't even realize how much of that is missing until we see stories like this. This is one of the reasons why I like the movie 8th Grade so much, because it works simply, for many reasons, but it validates and respects an 8th grade girl's emotions. And it's like, why can't we just do that more? Why can't we have more stories that do that?
So your mom had a huge like impact of this film. She didn't have much screen time, but she, you know, was the backbone of this film, kind of like the story with you and her, kind of. But like, what does she think of this film?
I mean, she sort of she after she watched it, you know, she said that she understands why I made the film, and she's just said that she's proud of me.
Yeah. So your film touches on a lot of heavy subjects: domestic violence, child abuse, race, gender, class, poverty. Did you go into this film thinking that you're going to touch on all those hard topics?
Yeah, I mean, the first year was when I was really exploring, you know, what I told you earlier about why I was doing this project in the first place, you know, trying to find these root causes for, you know, why a lot of young people really struggle to grow up. And these all came to the forefront within that first year.
At what point in filming, when you started filming, like in the beginning of the film, you had clips of when you were filming as a little kid. Did you start filming as a little kid hoping that you were going to make a documentary eventually with those clips?
No, that was all reverse engineered. I had like 15 minutes of Zach, one clip of Kier, and I sourced other clips from other people. You know, I filmed myself sometimes, but it was sort of like a joke. It wasn't until my mid-20s when I started this project, and then it wasn't until the final year, last year, of editing that I dug into the archival footage.
So your film shows the contrast of race in America being black versus white. Why did you choose to do that in your film?
Because it really represented one of the experiences of the characters, and it was part of his journey of growing up, and I think it matters.
So your film also follows a very unconventional approach to documentary style, where you, the director, are part of the story and you're part of the dialogue. Why did you decide to do this, and were you worried about what critics may say?
I wasn't worried about what critics may say throughout, you know, but working with Kartemquin Films in Chicago, you know, they're known for films like Hoop Dreams and The Interrupters. You know, they come from a school of filmmaking called Cinema Verite, and within that school of filmmaking, you know, the camera often is nodded to. The camera often, you know, isn't blotted out or anything, and I think there's actually more truth in embracing the camera being there than pretending like the camera isn't there. And I think, you know, in the documentary field, we're sort of past the stage of, you know, pretending the fourth wall is up.
If you can do one thing different from this documentary, what would it be?
I don't think I would do anything different. I'm pretty happy with everything, and I think everybody that participated was happy with everything. So.
Yeah, so what do the characters think about this film? Did they get a chance to watch the entire film?
Yeah, so, you know, I told them early on that we were going to show them the film before it ever got finished, you know, as we were close to finishing it, and we did, and everybody was just blown away by the honesty of it. So.
Yeah, how did you get everyone to be so honest with themselves on camera? Because, like, at the end of the film, Zach was portrayed as kind of the antagonist of the film. Was he okay with being portrayed as that character?
I don't think that you know, people sort of see him as the antagonist. I mean, he's a complex person, and I think he represents what a lot of people are feeling, and I think he represents, you know, the complexity of being human. So, you know, and he recognized that, and at the end of the film, he was crying.
So what does skateboarding mean to you?
It's an escape, it's a catharsis, but there's a point of diminishing returns. You know, skateboarding can really help you, you know, emotionally escape. But, you know, can it help you become a good father? Can it help you get a GED? Not necessarily. But it's also not a reason to demonize it either. You know, it still has its uses, and, you know, I know plenty of people my age and older who still skate, and it's a very healthy activity.
So if you were to choose between the two, skateboarding and filming, what would it be?
I don't think I would be able to choose between the two.
So who are some people that inspire you? Maybe skateboarders and filmmakers, or a little bit of both?
Well, Spike Jonze, you know, he's probably the most famous person who came out of making skate videos, who went on to become a filmmaking director. But, I mean, there's plenty of people that inspire me. It's, you know, it's a laundry list, but the filmmakers that I watched growing up that really inspired me were Harmony Korine and Richard Linklater.
So what's next for Bing Liu? What can we anticipate? Are you planning on to do more documentaries in the same style? Do you want to do bigger Hollywood picture movies? What do you want to do?
You know, I don't think my interest is in directing the next Marvel movie. But, you know, there's been a project that I've been developing for the past year and a half. We started filming a few months ago because we got the green light. It's about the way that we access memory, both personally and communally, and how difficult it is, but ultimately how important it is as it pertains to a few young men who experienced gun violence in Chicago.
That's amazing. That's going to be interesting. So what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Probably Waking Life.
What's your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show. Maybe The Office.
I love The Office.
Or maybe Rick and Morty. I don't know.
like Rick and Morty too.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite artist or band?
That one's tough. I don't know if I have. I mean, The Weaker Thans is somebody that really listened to a lot growing up that inspired me.
So what do you think about the film itself overall? Are you proud of yourself? Do you have any embarrassment? Are you happy? Are you sad?
I think I just associate right now because it's just all so unreal. You know, it just seems like walking in and out of a dream. So I'm not quite sure how to feel about it. So, you know, I just do have faith that it's, you know, I'll be processing it for years to come, and it's going to have an effect on me and everybody that was involved for years to come.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any other last words that you want to say?
I'm just really excited for the Rockford community to finally gather and see it on the big screen.
Well, that's all the questions I have for today. Again, you can watch Bing Liu's documentary, Minding the Gap, on Hulu. He will be attending the Mosaic Film Festival tonight to premiere his film. Again, you're watching Eyewitness News. I'm Jean Kang.